There's a generation that remembers life before smartphones, before social media, before constant connectivity. A world where phones were attached to walls, photos had to develop in darkrooms, and you memorized phone numbers. Yet this same generation adapted seamlessly to the digital era, mastering email, social media, and early smartphones, all before many adults even understood them. If you were born between 1976 and 1985, you exist in this rare in-between space, too young to be fully Gen X, too old to be fully millennial. Today, we're diving deep into Xennials and their psychology, 1976 to 1985. A generation caught between analog childhood and digital adulthood. And here's the twist. Feeling in between may actually be your greatest psychological advantage. What if being caught between worlds is actually your hidden superpower? Xennials grew up in a world that felt slower, quieter, and less curated. You couldn't Google answers instantly, and there was no instant messaging to rescue you from boredom. You played outside for hours, invented your own games, and learned patience the hard way. You had to entertain yourself, solve conflicts without adult intervention, and manage friendships through trust, physical presence, and repeated effort. Then came the shift. Technology exploded into your early adulthood. Email became standard, cell phones proliferated, and social media emerged. Friendster, MySpace, then Facebook. Suddenly, your private childhood gave way to a more public life. Memories that used to fade naturally were now captured, shared, and searchable. This transition reshaped how Xennials view relationships, privacy, and memory itself. You became fluent in two worlds, analog and digital, giving you a cognitive advantage that few other generations possess. And this isn't just a historical curiosity. Think about it. How many people today can navigate a real-world conversation without looking at their phone while also mastering complex digital tools effortlessly? That's your generation. You learned adaptability in your formative years without anyone forcing it, a skill that has shaped your thinking, your career, and your relationships. This shift didn't just change habits. It happened while your brain was actively wiring itself for adaptability and resilience. During your late teens and early 20s, your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for decision-making, planning, and complex problem-solving, was still developing. Neuroscientists call this high plasticity, meaning your brain was particularly receptive to new experiences. For Xennials, this high plasticity window coincided with a technological revolution. You weren't digital natives, but you weren't technophobes either. You adapted quickly to email, instant messaging, social media, and the first smartphones. You learned both analog and digital social skills, from passing handwritten notes in class to crafting carefully curated online posts. This dual experience gave you a cognitive flexibility that few generations possess. You can engage in face-to-face conversations without distraction, yet you can also navigate multiple digital platforms simultaneously. You can tolerate ambiguity, adjust to sudden change, and evaluate risk from both offline and online perspectives. Ask yourself, how often do you see younger people struggle without technology, or older people hesitate when presented with it? Xennials sit comfortably in both worlds. This is more than a skill, it's a mindset forged by timing, opportunity, and a unique set of circumstances. Adaptability alone isn't the full story, because just as your brain was rewiring itself, the world threw an economic curveball. As Xennials reached adulthood, the 2008 financial crisis struck, a pivotal moment in shaping your psychology. Jobs disappeared. Housing values collapsed. Financial stability seemed like a mirage. Early adulthood is a critical period for forming attitudes about money, risk, and security. Experiencing economic instability at this stage doesn't just affect bank accounts. It shapes long-term decision-making and behavior. Many Xennials learn the hard lessons of self-reliance, caution, and strategic planning before they even had mortgages, families, or long-term careers. This is why many of you today keep emergency funds even if it feels excessive. Build side hustles and diversify income streams. A. Approach investments and financial opportunities with careful calculation. Question the stability and reliability of institutions that others take for granted. The combination of technological adaptability and economic caution produces a rare psychological resilience. You are flexible enough to embrace change but careful enough to avoid unnecessary risks. This duality is an invisible strength that guides personal, professional, and social decisions daily. Analog grounding plus digital fluency plus financial caution, a combination unique to Xennials and their ability to thrive amid uncertainty. Xennials are often described as a bridge generation, caught between old and new, analog and digital. But what many overlook is that contradiction itself is your advantage. You mastered boredom and solitude offline, skills that teach patience, focus, and emotional regulation. Yet you also mastered digital communication, tools that require speed, multitasking, and technical literacy. You can focus on a real-world task for hours without distraction, but switch seamlessly to a fast-paced online environment when needed. You understand the value of privacy, yet can leverage the power of online visibility. You're skeptical yet optimistic, independent yet cooperative. This dual fluency gives you a rare perspective. You see what was lost in the shift from analog to digital, but also recognize the gains. This ability to hold contradictory truths comfortably is something younger generations struggle with and older generations often resist. In practical terms, this allows Xennials to navigate hybrid work environments, balance real-life connections with digital communities, make strategic life choices grounded in both experience and foresight. You've lived contradictions, and you thrive in them. And yet, despite this strength, the world mislabels Xennials constantly, and that misunderstanding shapes perception and opportunity. Xennials are misunderstood in many ways. Let's break it down. Myth 1: you're just older millennials. Reality: the timing of formative experiences matters. Those born 1976 to 1985 lived through an analog childhood and a digital adolescence, a combination younger millennials never experienced. Myth 2: you resist change. Reality: Xennials thrive on change because early adulthood demanded it. You've successfully navigated technology, social media, and economic instability, a triple test that few others faced. Myth 3: generational labels are meaningless. Reality: while every individual is unique, shared formative experiences create patterns in psychology and behavior. Recognizing these patterns allows for better self-understanding and strategic decisions in careers, finances, and relationships. Myth 4: you don't understand younger or older generations. Reality: you do, and that's why you can act as a bridge. You understand skepticism, independence, patience, and privacy, but also adaptability, collaboration, and digital fluency. Understanding these truths isn't about ego. It's about leveraging your unique blend of skills and insights, something few generations can claim. If timing shapes psychology, how does this prepare Xennials for the AI era and future disruption? The world is changing again. AI, automation, and rapid technological turnover are redefining work and life. Xennials are uniquely equipped to handle this next shift because you've already survived two massive disruptions: the analog to digital revolution and economic instability in early adulthood. You are resilient, flexible, and strategic. You understand impermanence. You can adapt, learn, and thrive without losing your sense of self. While younger generations panic at disruption and older generations resist it, Xennials navigate change with confidence and perspective. This is not just about technology. It's about psychology, identity, and mindset. You've lived contradictions. You've held private and public selves. You've balanced caution and risk. If this video resonated with you, subscribe to uncover more hidden patterns of human psychology and prepare to navigate a world that will continue to change faster than anyone expects. Xennials, your adaptability is your superpower. You survived one massive shift. Why would the next one break you? Your mind has already mastered adaptability.